Okay, hopefully this is, just so you know that this is being recorded. It's being recorded just simply for note-taking purposes internally. And so I'm going to hopefully be able to see everybody that we have on here. Just give me a second. I'm just making sure we can see everybody. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 6. All right, so the first question on the table is manufacturing uses could you envision in Norwalk? And then the second is, would you rather see small scale boutique manufacturing or larger scale light manufacturing, as Maggie described earlier, which is, these kind of differences here. I'm going to just kind of call on people in order just to kind of get some feedback. I'm going to take some notes. And as I said, this is being recorded. At least I hope it is. Louis, do you want to go first?
Kevin, I'd rather be an observer than a participant.
Okay.
I've been serving on the committee.
Oh, right. That's right. I'm sorry.
And I've had input. For those of you who don't know me, I'm chair of the Zoning Commission. So I have been involved with this.
Okay. That's right. I'm totally sorry. I forgot. So the guy in the tie, he must be formal. Mary Ann, you want to go first?
Sure. As far as manufacturing in Norwalk, I think it would be cool if we had like a brew pub or something. Bakery, love that idea. I know that I'm sort of regurgitating what they showed as some examples, but I think also like a small sewing or some sort of like custom made clothing area or something like that. Anything, could be skateboard.
Kind of consumer product maker type focus stuff.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great. Lisa?
Oh, actually, and to follow up on the second point,
sure.
I'd much rather see small scale than large scale.
The boutique stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and with I kind of agree with Marianne on all of that. I definitely would prefer the smaller scale stuff. I was concerned when I was looking at how you guys were allocating where these type of zones would be, that the waterfront, once again, is more heavy manufacturing. And one of the things, perhaps it's my bias, but I really feel like our waterfront is a huge asset for our city, and it should be used by all of our city. So my view would be to have as little large scale manufacturing on our riverfront as we could have, and bring people down to our waterfront with walking and other uses. So I really don't like the idea of I know we're stuck with some of the heavy industry. You're showing the picture right now.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. That's a huge bummer. But some of you might know that I'm a Common Council member. And one of the things we're working on right now is finding a way to extend the inner harbor loop for the NRVT. So some of the choices that you guys made kind of bums me out. I really would like to see.
Yeah. So Lisa, just so I can be clear, it's not choices that were made. The map that I'm showing right now is what the actual zoning is today.
Gotcha. I understand that. So like I said, you asked me what I care about. I would like to see less heavy uses there and a lot lighter uses, for the very purpose that one of the best things we have is that river, and it's a huge asset, and I would not like to see it used for heavy industry. You asked, I'm telling you.
Got it. Yeah. I just want to be clear that it wasn't our.
No. I know that there's some existing. There's existing uses that we're stuck with for sure. Yeah. But when you're looking at the east side of the river, there's hope, I guess.
Yes. Noted. Keith?
Yeah, I would say that I would prefer the boutique manufacturing, but I think that given the locations that are available, I think you really should be looking at having both. I mean, there's areas that could take larger industrial uses happening, and I think everybody might prefer the kind of smaller boutique type manufacturing. You can two comments. One about the picture of Divine Brothers, for instance. I mean, clearly it's a business that's been around for a long time. Yep. And one comment would be, as you look at the two barges that are in the river, the gravel and a sand barge, I don't remember the tonnage, and I'm not sure of the number of trucks, but it's something like 20 or 30 trucks maybe even more, to get that amount of material into that location. And those things come in every week. So you've got tremendous amounts of material that are off the roads by using the river. So there are some big advantages that I would agree that it'd be nicer to have, and I guess the east side of the river is set up a little bit better for that, but I think we do need to keep some of that industrial use for the water dependent uses of moving material.
Okay.
And one other comment for Marianne, you'll be happy to know that there is a brewery under construction at 57 Chestnut Street right now, and it will be opening up hopefully in June or July.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Louisa?
Hi. So I've been in Norwalk for 2 years, and I live in East Norwalk, part of all that went on with the Norton possible development. So I was just looking to listen in and to learn. I don't have enough intelligence to be able to really contribute. So I am going to be, an active listener instead of a participant.
Got it.
Yeah.
And there's one more. Louise?
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, yes. I would definitely like to see more boutique style development or zoning, I guess. Or at least something that's, at least for the water, something that's water dependent rather than just something that whoever owns the land felt like they could put there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, understood. Yep.
I would like to see something, that's more appropriate for Norwalk, not just because it works somewhere else, it's going to work here type of, thing. That's really all I got.
Okay. So anything else, but anyone who wants to bring in? Basically, it's pretty, there's a general consensus around boutique manufacturing is preferred. There is a conversation around taking advantage of where there are opportunities for larger scale. And then there is this general conversation, which is an excellent lead-in, Lisa, to the conversation around the waterfront. And Lisa, why don't you go first, since you had, you can elaborate more on your comments from before. And you're muted. Lisa?
So sorry, I had to answer the door. Like I said, out of the way. So what I would really like to see on the waterfront, one of the things that I would absolutely love is that, the NRVT is trying to do that connection part of the walking and bike trails. And so that's what I'd like to see what happens to the waterfront. I'd like to see it as something, it is such an asset for our city. And I would really like to see that all of us can use it, not just the industrial uses, but every citizen of Norwalk having the ability to enjoy being on the waterfront there. So that's my vision for it. Can we make Norwalk more connected? Can we walk from the top of East Avenue all the way down to the train station? Can we get even farther and get to the Maritime Center? Can we do some of those really amazing things in Norwalk? And I just feel, like I said, it's a wonderful, wonderful asset. And I'd like to see all of the members of Norwalk community be able to use it. So that's my vision of it. Does that?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It answers both questions, because the next one is, what would you like to see happen? No. So if I heard you correctly, it's the water and biking trails, making sure that everyone can get access to the water, using the water as a mechanism to better connect East and West, connect Norwalk overall.
Yes, that's it.
Great. Marianne? You're muted. Marianne?
Unmute. Okay, sorry.
Okay, there you go. No problem.
Yep. Most important aspect of the Norwalk River waterfront is that it also leads you right to the beaches and other areas of the waterfront. And I think, you know, Norwalk has a unique position of many of the coastal towns in that, you know, we've got a river, we've also got all of this beachfront, and we have a number of islands. So there's many things that we could start doing to connect some sort of a, you know, boat launch ferry service to the islands, things like that. Actually, I'm sort of transitioning into the second question. But the other thing I was thinking is like, hey, we've got like places like Veterans Park at the end of the river there, and it would be great to have more musical venues going on there. I agree. We should also have the whole walking path, biking path. We bike around a lot, but you know, you're somewhat limited in going in little communities, and it'd be great if the paths connect to each other. Same thing for runners as well. That's it.
Great. Louisa, you're taking a pass if this still holds on the waterfront, or do you have any views on the waterfront? Unmute. Okay. Keith?
Yeah, I'm trying to, I mean, I've got a lot of views on the waterfront, and but I'm trying to separate out what's the most important one to me or you or somebody else, and how do you really satisfy that to the greatest effort for the city? And to me, you're going to obviously have the people that need to get on the water with boats and be out and go fishing or do whatever pleasure, and you're going to have the transportation from, say, the Maritime Center out to Sheffield Island. But it seems to me one of the key things would be to be preserving vistas or views, and that, say, for instance, the same view or vista you get going over the Straffolino Bridge is pretty magnificent, and other development should offer that opportunity for people to be at the waterfront and see the river. Now, granted, you can see it from the park side, but opening up uses that allow people to, there really is really minor amounts of eating on the riverfront, restaurant opportunities, and that's something that's pretty nice in a lot of other towns. I remember years ago, I was involved in the Commission on the Inner Study Harbor or something, and a study on the Inner Harbor, and one of the numbers that shocked me was the consultant came up with the fact that the linear footage of the Norwalk Harbor is actually bigger than the Baltimore Harbor. And I don't know if any of you have been to the Baltimore Harbor, but it's pretty spectacular.
Oh, the Inner Harbor, yeah.
But the Norwalk Harbor has the potential to be doing the same thing, which is riverfront restaurants, water taxis running between riverfront restaurants. Of course, it's got the aquarium, which we also do. But the idea of making access being not just access to actually get out on the water, but access to be able to be by the water, see the water, Sono Seafood, for instance, that type of operation, but giving more opportunities for that type of thing.
Got it. And Louise?
Yes. I think the most important aspect of the Norwalk River waterfront to me would be just the river itself, just having access to the river, just the shellfish, just those things, the Norwalk River. And then what I would like to see, tap into the waterfront is definitely more waterfront dining, more, I guess, community access to the water. Definitely, most ideally, all of the watershed would be restored, and there would be all the paths would connect. It would be more people friendly, not just, you walk through here and then you see ONG's monstrosity. It's the Inner Harbor is definitely an eyesore, but it's got potential, and I would just like to see it, be able to use it, I guess, for what it is.
Got it. So anything else? Anybody given what you've just heard, anybody want to add anything? We have a couple of minutes left. Sorry, I mean, I know it's fast, but you know, these are sometimes a little awkward. So anybody want to add anything?
I have one thing, the same as you've talked in earlier about separate studies to look at something, and there is one going on, but obviously the Manresa Island power plant is a huge opportunity and could be a game changer for Norwalk. So that's got to be looked at, you know, very carefully, and it should be into every aspect of long-term planning.
Yeah, got it. So I'm going to try to summarize, and please tell me if you think I did this accurately or not. So the themes that are very clear to me is more public access, connection, using it to better connect the city, activation, whether it's dining, etc., protecting, making sure that people who need access to the water can get access to the water, protecting views, and allowing and making sure that there's access to the different natural resources. And then there's this greater question, which is Manresa, the beaches, and the islands that the waterfront provides access to, and how that gets incorporated into some kind of plan or concept here. Is that a fair summary?
Well, Kevin, I would really emphasize a little bit differently as far as access goes. I would actually be specific about it. And I would say that people want walking access, they want biking access, they want running access, they want to throw their kayaks and paddle boards in. I think people really want the river to be available to them and the views to be available to them on a personal level. Does anybody else agree with that? I mean, I feel like it's much more, I wouldn't just say, I think access means a lot of things to a lot of people, and I would want to stress what those accesses are.
So it's walking, biking, kayak access, as long as marine user access.
Exactly. Because I do feel as though people really want that NRVT Harbor Loop to be activated because it's spectacular, really beautiful. And when we put the NRVT together, we're going to be able to walk from the Maritime Center in Norwalk all the way up to Danbury. And I think that's just going to be awesome. And a lot of people will want to be able to use the waterfront in that way, I think.
Okay.
I completely agree with Lisa on all of that.
Okay. What I'm going to say is on the access point, it's walking, it's personal access, walking, biking, kayaking, plus marine user access, activation, and then there's this larger question of connectivity, not only across the city, but also to the islands, the beaches, etc.
Yep, makes sense.
Yes.
Fair.
And really the idea that you can live on East Avenue and walk to the train station by the river. How fabulous would that be?
Well, buy property now. I don't know.
It's too late to buy property.
It's never too late to buy waterfront property. It's just don't be the last one to buy waterfront property. I think we're going to get converted over. I don't know how this is going to work. So it's beyond my pay grade, but thanks for taking the time. Anybody else have any other comments?
Can I give one more comment regarding?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I was thinking about it relative to, there's a location, if you're coming down Rowayton Avenue into Rowayton now, where a new home was put in, and the homeowner, certainly within their rights, decided to put a stone wall up all the way across the front of their property. And now you no longer see the river from Rowayton Avenue, which seems to me that that's the kind of long-term planning that should somehow be fit into whatever you're doing on any aspect of the river, wherever you are, that's some ability to maintain views from properties. You're obviously, if something's getting developed and built out, there's going to be things that are going to be blocked, but to try and maintain that, and not just from, say, being able to walk along the walkway along the river, but to have those vistas to still see it from.
To that, that's an interesting question. So to that end, go ahead, Was that you,
I
Lisa?
completely agree with Keith on that. I think that lines of view are really important. And in a lot of ways, we all own our views in this city. So that's a great comment.
Yeah, so with that, to that end, is one of the considerations, because views did come up, and it's come up, now several times. Should one of the things that be considered as height limitations basically at the riverfront?
I don't know as it's so much height limitation, because once you go up over 15 feet, you're blocking the view. I think it's probably more. It's been a forever argument in the waterfront, and that is you either own waterfront property or you have property with water views, and there's two distinct differences.
Yeah.
But because certain elevations and heights could add to giving more waterfront view, rooftop restaurants and that type of stuff could be wonderful to have.
Right.
Even from the top of the hotel on South Main Street now, it's an incredible view of the harbor from there.
Right.
I don't think it's as much as that you're putting on a 2-story building or a 5-story building. It's like maintain some kind of sightline. You're not
sidelines and view
instead
corridors.
of height, worry about building sideline to sideline.
Right. So view corridors and sightlines. Yeah. Frank, you just joined us, or at least I just saw you on here. Do you have any comments about the waterfront?
No, not really. I mean, I joined late, so I don't know what was discussed already.
I can summarize really quickly. So the perspective is making sure that personal access defined by things like walking, biking, kayaking has kind of equal weight to kind of marine user access. You just heard the conversation around views and view corridors. More activation of the waterfront, things like dining, etc., and thinking hard about kind of the connectivity to the island, beaches, train station, etc., from the waterfront.
Okay.
Anything you want to add to that?
Nothing to add, really. I mean, it would be nice. It would be nice for us to, as a city, see the riverfront incorporated into all this planning. I mean, you see so much going on with other development, and for example, in the Wall Street area and all that, and nothing being said about what's going on along the river. It just seems to be a little bit of a mishmash of whatever happens.
And do you have any, just going to bring this up because I know you were in late. The first question that we talked about, Frank, and I want to make sure your views are heard here, which is, are there specific types of manufacturing uses that you think make sense for Norwalk, and what's your perspective on kind of small scale boutique manufacturing versus larger scale light manufacturing for Norwalk? Any perspectives on that?
I guess certain things within reason and properly placed, right? I know recently there was it's not manufacturing, but that distribution center right in East Norwalk that the problem seems to be the placement of, and that's been quite criticized. So, I mean, Norwalk can't be everything to everybody, right? We're trying to be artsy and downtown restaurant area. We're trying to be, condos and apartments, residential area. Now we want to be manufacturing as well. I mean, where are we going to fit all this? Next thing you know, people are trying to have their one family homes in a manufacturing zone or manufacturing in a residential area. Norwalk's only so big. So yeah, light manufacturing probably still has a place, but where? But where? Maybe not along the river, but yet there are other abandoned places within Norwalk that maybe what's going on with everything. I haven't been down this way in a long time, but the old Norwalk College, for example.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
So there are abandoned places that aren't being used. So let's keep Norwalk River or manufacturing away from that. And maybe there are places where manufacturing can go.
Got it. Well, I want to thank everybody for their time. How this is going to work is we're going to report back. I'll do the best job that I can. If you think I've misinterpreted anything, we kind of briefly went over what my notes are. So you've heard what I'm going to say. But if you think something needs to be added, please feel free to jump in when the reporting back out comes. And if you go to the thing that shows 3 dots up at the top, where I think it, depending upon what your screen looks like, but in my screen, it says more. You'll see down at the bottom, it'll say leave breakout room, and that should take you back to the main body. And if it doesn't, and you end up in the nether world of the internet, I apologize 1,000 times. So thank you all.